Trouble began when the West sanctioned Russia over its refusal to withdraw troops from Ukraine. After insisting on not backing down, Putin was silent for some weeks and thought of a better way to get back at Europe. This led to the signing of a $78 billion energy project with China. The new alliance will negatively affect Europe thanks to its overdependence on Russia's gas. But can it cope without Russia? Stay tuned for details. Moscow and Beijing have concluded plans to sign a deal on delivering 50 billion cubic meters of gas yearly via the Power of Siberia 2 pipeline. This Russian pipeline will replace the Nord 2 stream that was abandoned in the wake of the Ukraine conflict. This volume of gas represents the maximum capacity of Nord Stream 1, which boasts 55 billion cubic meters in total. Unfortunately, this pipeline has been shut down since September 2022. This new pipeline project will fuel China's energy-hungry economy via Mongolia. Construction is due to start in 2024. Therefore, it is an alternative to the project backed by Germany, but which the West has viewed with disdain and scrapped since the Russian offensive in Ukraine began in February 2022. Mongolian President, Putin's ally, said he supports the construction. After Russia's oil and gas exports to the EU dropped to around 50 billion cubic meters, there was a need for an alternative. The Russian energy minister said that Gazprom, the operator of the Power of Siberia 1 gas pipeline, has linked the Chunina field to northeastern China since 2019 and would increase deliveries to reach 20 billion cubic meters of gas yearly. By 2025, when this project will operate at full capacity, this pipeline will produce 61 billion cubic meters of gas yearly, far more than Nord Stream 1. This $78 billion energy project benefits all parties involved: China, Russia, and Mongolia. Not only would this channel cleaner energy to China, but it will also help its economy balance its over-reliance on liquefied natural gas. Although this construction may take years, an infrastructure like this is worth it. Given Russia's quarrel with its traditional European customers, it's pertinent to shop for new buyers. Although Moscow said it wouldn't use natural gas as an economic weapon, it has halted supplies to countries implementing a price cap on its oil. In fact, Russia's Gazprom told its European customers that it could no longer guarantee gas supplies due to unexplained circumstances. These comments came months before Putin officially banned oil supplies to EU member countries, including the US and UK. The planning for Power of Siberia 2 has been under discussion for years. The country considered alternative routes, with one entering China from the Russian Far East and a western route connected with northwest China's Xinjiang region. Jin Lei, a professor at Beijing-based China University of Petroleum, told the press that the pipeline would enhance China's natural gas supply, and Russia would also benefit thanks to Mongolia, who would automatically become an additional customer. Several Chinese media commentaries say that it was Russia's idea for the Power of Siberia 2 to pass through Mongolia. In a famous article, they argued that Russia insisted on letting a new gas pipeline pass through Mongolia to China. They questioned the intention of this move. This argument flooded Chinese websites in December 2022, and many experts see reasons for it. The authors said that although Mongolia's participation will increase the project's construction and energy transportation cost, it will help Russia form stronger ties with the country and prevent an alliance with America. Moscow suspected the US was doing all it could to woo Mongolia with investments. Therefore, it introduced into the looming arrangement and offered a dicier deal. China is also at peace with Mongolia in the picture, as the economic benefits enjoyed by the three sides far outweighed the construction cost and additional costs. Another editorial has raised concerns about Mongolia's participation in the gas deal. The article recalled that before 2014, China had proposed to buy Russia's gas at the same price it bought from Central Asian producers, but Russia refused. It demanded higher pay, one that was closer to what Europe paid. Russia receded on this decision only after the West sanctioned it after its Crimea invasion. The same thing might be playing out today with the Power of Siberia 2 pipeline. Chinese experts noted that the EU, US, and UK are probably regretting their sanctions against Russia. They are confident that China may take over the EU to be the #1 consumer of Russian gas. About half of China's natural gas is imported, while 2/3 come from the LNG. Moscow has been eager to supply its gas to China since it needs more to substitute for the eventual phasing out of coal. Experts say Chinese demand for gas will increase by 2035, which is good news for Russia, but bad for Europe. Both countries are taking advantage of their cordial relationship to make this work. Is Europe scared about the $78 billion Russian-China project? After issuing sanctions on Russia, Europe didn't expect the country to move on quickly. It is worried that this new alliance with China would have severe geopolitical implications for energy-hungry European nations that depend on Russian gas. While the bloc hopes to transition to other energy sources, it may take time. In the meantime, it still needs gas to survive. Russia is unarguably one of the greatest beneficiaries of the energy crisis raging over European markets. To be honest, Europe started the game first. By cutting supplies to Europe at a time of higher demand, Gazprom is reaping windfall profits from the record-high gas prices. It also pressures the EU to license the Nord Stream 2 pipeline to avoid transit to Ukraine and solidify the company's dominance over Central and Eastern Europe. The power of Siberia 2 is a game-changer for both Russia and the EU. The power of Siberia 1 is connected to natural gas fields in eastern Siberia and only supplies to China. The second connects the Yamal field in western Siberia and the pipeline network sending gas to Europe. This helps Russia diversify its exports away from Europe and allows Gazprom to choose between Europe and China. Europe was previously confident that Russia would not dare cut supplies to the region, but it thinks otherwise now. When Power of Siberia 2 reaches maximum capacity, Russia's threat to completely cut supplies will impact the region's gas markets more. The Russian-Chinese collaboration is a wake-up call for Europe to boost its energy security. The strong growth of the Chinese gas industry suggests that the competition in the global market will be high and prices will go up. If Russia is on standby to supply China's gas needs, they'll no longer need Europe to boost revenue, which is a plus for Russia. European countries like Germany, Italy, Netherlands, Bulgaria, France, Poland, etc., that depend on Russia's gas will become more vulnerable to gas shortages and price shocks. Ironically, these countries have promised to cut gas usage to cope with the new changes, but these strategies may fail. Europe can escape this trap by being more deliberate about its policies. First, European countries can accelerate their gas supply diversification efforts by securing alternative gas volumes via LNG and importing more gas from the Caspian Basin, North Africa, or Iran. The bloc can also complete the European gas market integration and eliminate long-term contracts with limited competition. A better way to evade Russia's wrath will be to reduce reliance on natural gas in the heating and power sectors by accelerating the uptake of low-carbon technologies and renewables. Some analysts foresee a change of mind from Russia in the future. This is because China will not offer as much profit as Moscow got in Europe. The country may still battle a budget deficit despite selling the bulk of its gas to China. Europe is already suffering the impact of Russia's actions. The continent cannot wait for this drama to be over to return to their normal lives. Why China? Russia's friendship with China is fairly new. However, it deepened given that they have a common enemy and unite to fight. Since the beginning of the Russian-Ukraine war, China has been deliberately silent about its opinion on the war. The silence suggests it supports Russia, but also allows the country to monitor the terrain. Despite the international outcry for Beijing to respond, it went silent, hoping for more events to unfold. China felt vulnerable, thanks to its fragile geopolitical position. It realized a response would put it up for or against two superpowers, in this case, Russia and the US. However, it understands that collaborating with Russia was a more profitable venture as it already has pending issues with the US. On another hand, Beijing believes that a weakened Russia may drive Moscow away from the West and closer to it. With the latest construction of a new gas pipeline, you can tell that both countries have cemented their relationship. Unfortunately, we don't know how long this will last. China is not interested in a long-term conflict because of the war's economic, political, and reputational risks. In the same breath, it doesn't want to see Russia's defeat. Defeating Russia would mean installing a pro-Western democratic regime in the country and a looming political crisis. Either way, the outcome will affect China negatively. Energy is the major field of bilateral economic and trade cooperation between the two economies. Experts are confident that the collaboration will strengthen the international energy chain and maintain the stability and security of the global energy market. Russia-Chinese trade turnover in the energy sector increased by nearly 64% in 2022, with physical deliveries increasing by 10%. Russia is already China's second largest supplier of crude oil, supplying 72 million tons valued at $49 billion within 10 months. China was the ideal partner to strike a deal with for many reasons. Both countries have a common enemy and would do everything to have an edge. So there you have it. The $78 billion Chinese and Russia energy project doesn't sit well with Europe, but if we're honest, they started the game first. The outcome of this battle is unpredictable, but we'll follow up and bring you more details as they unfold. Please tell us in the comment section if you think Europe will survive this and how well Russia will fare in the future. Like and subscribe if you haven't. See you in another episode.